Today, I'd like to offer you a tutorial on how to wash some dishes. All right, I already got my water running at the temperature that I'd like it. I have the right mix of hot and cold and pressure. It's looking pretty good. So that I don't waste any more water, here's how we do it around here, right? Get your sponge, okay? Got two sides to a sponge, all right? This is the rough edge, soft edge. This is to get all the crap off your plate, right? And this is to really soak up any grease that's left over, any food grease whatsoever, right? So first thing we're gonna do is apply a little bit of soap on this side and a little bit of soap on this side, get it underneath the water and get it all right. So let's do that now. Something that I forgot to mention is you should always start with a clean sponge. And that might just be a personal preference, but like I say, personally, I don't like using something to clean my dishes that are dirty with something that's already dirty, something that's already got food on it. Now I know if you've used a sponge already and at the end of washing the dishes you clean it off, of course it's still going to have some food particles in it, some germs, whatever, microscopic things, but at the end of the day it's just gross to use a dirty sponge to clean dirty dishes and make them clean, you know. But again, that might just be a personal thing. That's just where I'm coming from. Now again, we're going to begin by getting some soap on this side and on this side, getting it under the water. So here we go. Not a lot, just enough. So I'm gonna tilt it so you can see just a little bit on that side, flip it over, and just a little bit on this side, just a little bit. All right. And we're gonna get that wet, kind of rub it together. Next, first thing, pick up a dish, any dish, right? Let's go with this bowl right here to begin, right? Got some gray crap in that bowl, right? First things first, no need for the sponge. Get in there. If there's stuff caked onto the sides of this bowl that you can get off with your hands, go ahead, do that, okay? Now, rough side first. Get in there all the way around, once over, outside because it's been sitting in the sink, right? You want to make sure you're getting the entire bowl or the entire plate or the entirety of whatever surface you're trying to get clean, because it's been sitting in the sink with a whole bunch of other food that's been dumped on it. The sink is dirty, right? The sink is dirty to begin with. You're trying to clean the entire object. You're not just cleaning where you eat from, okay? Next, take the soft side. Do a once over, just like that, easy. Do a once over, just like that, easy, okay? Again, make sure you're getting all the little nitty gritty surfaces. There's a little indent right here, so I'm just making sure that I'm getting inside that little area. And again, the whole surface, so my sponge was on the inside here, it was on the outside here, but I didn't really take care of the lip where, you know, say you're gonna eat cereal out of this or something, and you wanna drink the milk that's left over in it in the future. What happens when the lip isn't clean either? And you put your mouth on that to drink the cereal, and there's, like, you know, caked on oatmeal or something that's been sitting in the sink, or caked on buffalo sauce or something. Anyway, once you're finished with that, throw your sponge down and we'll just wash it off. Now the soap that I'm using is grease cleaning, so it is pretty soapy. I don't know if there's a better adjective than that, but it is very difficult to get the soap removed from the object. So I'm really working with my elbow grease here, really working with my hands, because although you do want it to be clean, you don't want to have soap left over inside the bowl so that when you go to eat out of it, you're eating a little bit of soap as well. You know, that's not good for you. So just make sure you're really taking your hands to the entire bowl here. Anywhere that feels slippery, kind of give it a little bit of extra elbow grease. And then I like to fill my bowl up a little bit. And if there's a surplus of bubbles, I know there's still soap in it. In this case, I know you can't see it, but I'm not seeing any bubbles, so we can go ahead, dump that out, and we'll just move it right over here to these towels that I have set up. Okay, and then, you know, if you're done doing the dishes, again, just like I did, bam, bam, your hands are dry, you can go on about your business. We are not done doing the dishes though, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them, but I figure that's a pretty good example of how to do any dish. Okay, I'd like to address something now. Okay, you may come across a bowl like this, or maybe a plate that's made out of plastic. This form of plastic can easily hold grease or any other sort of food material that it can soak into the bowl and just stay there. So you could give it the once over, and then you feel like there's still like this, you know, this greasy sort of feeling in the bowl or on the bowl, wherever. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to go ahead. I haven't touched this bowl yet besides just getting the stuff out of it. So I'm going to give it the once over with the water. Okay. Oh, little food particle in there. That's all right. Going to go ahead and give it the business here. It's always good to give these bowls the business, or these plates the business. Okay. I'm going to flip it over again. Use the soft side now. And we'll use a soft side here. And don't forget that lip. And we'll go ahead and we'll wash this out. Now what I'm predicting will happen here is we're going to have that sort of greasy residue on the inside once we've gone ahead and we've washed this out. I'm already starting to feel it actually on the outside here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so right about here, you can, let me get it, here we go. That's a good demonstration. That's a clean bowl, squeaky clean, right? Doesn't have, like, there's not soap on it. It's not bubbles. You know, you don't want to have a soap infected bowl, because just how these bowls can get greasy, they can also get soapy. And then, you know, you fill up some cereal in here with some milk, and then you're eating soapy cereal, soapy milk. That's not fun, right? So you want to have that, but you don't want to have bubbles coming off of that, and that's not the case in this instance. However, this, you can see my thumb is like just sliding on that there. And then in the bowl, that honestly feels pretty good, except for the very center is like, I mean, I'm just gliding like I'm on, you know, I'm putting my fingers onto some sort of lard block or something. So even though this soap is grease cleaning, it doesn't do the job all the way, all the time, especially with bowls like these or plates like these that are made out of plastic. You really need to give these another go around, specifically where you feel the grease. So we're going to feel that out on the outside. There's a patch right there, and it really seems to be only right there. Yeah, you can, I mean, it's squeaky, and then all of a sudden it's just not squeaky. So we're going to go ahead and give this bowl the business once again, and we're just going to clean that little, you know, square inch near the top of the bowl on the outside as well as the middle. So, oh, here we go. I got to find it again. There it is. Okay. Elbow grease, man. Elbow grease. Here we go. About to go crazy in here. Both sides. Again, the rough part kind of disrupts the grease, and then the soft part soaks it in. Okay, so now, so I clear this off here. we should have a fully clean bowl. Gonna want to check to see if it's been, if too much soap has been put in it now. And if that is the case, then, you just have to use your hand with some water and work that soap out, But here we go. As it stands, there's no more grease in the middle there. That's all squeaky clean. And there's no soap in there that I can see. And when I put, when I fill it with water a little bit, I'm not sure you can see that, but there are some bubbles in there. So we'll go ahead and we'll just really make sure all the soap is out of there before moving on to the next dish. You do not want to have, again, this is the theme, you don't want to have dirty dishes, but if you're going to clean them, don't want to have soapy dishes either. It's not good for you. It's not good for your body to be ingesting that soap. Probably not good for your body to be bathing in soap either, but we got to stay clean somehow. It's better to be on your skin than inside your body. Right, and now what I've done here is I've made it very soapy. And the soap is, you can see those bubbles. It is really just all in that bowl. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut here, and I'm gonna finish clearing this bowl out. And then I'll move on to whatever issue I find next. Another thing I should note here with this bowl is when you get to the point that you feel like, there's not a lot of bubbles in there, it's not soapy. You only get to that point by filling it up just in the bowl. You don't use your hands to try to scrape the soap out. Because what that does is the soap that's on your hands just gets into that water. You're gonna have soap on your hands, you're working with soap, it's gonna be in your skin. And so, you go and you just to demonstrate here. Yeah, I got bubbles all over my hands right now. And it just feels like soapy, it feels soapy. Even though I haven't put soap on my hands in the past number of minutes, it's still going to be in your hands because this is grease cleaning soap. It's very durable. It stays on your surface. So the only way to really ensure that your bowl is clean and it's soap free is not to have your hand in it scraping all the soap out, right? Do that maybe 1 or 2 times over, 3 maybe, and then start filling it up. And as soon as you see there's no bubbles in it, or the bubbles go away very quickly, which means that it's just water bubbles and not soap bubbles, then you know that you have a clean dish free of food waste and free of soap waste. Okay, I've saved a few things, save the best for last, as they say. One of which is this spatula. It's got eggs all over it, right? Now you'd think this would be pretty simple, just get it off. But this stuff is stuck on there. Matter of fact, one of my roommates took this, washed it with this, I presume, and then put it away as if it was clean. Man, I tell you what, that is just not clean. You know what I'm saying? So, what we're gonna do, in addition to this sponge, I also have one of these. This little scrub brush. I'm gonna take this. We don't need soap on this because it's wood. Don't need soap on wood. The soap is just going to get stuck in there, even worse than the plastic, and then it's just going to be there while you cook. You don't want to be cooking with soap, right? So again, just going to take a little bit of water off of this brush here. Just give it the business. And that should pretty well take care of the issue. Now what you really want to do is make sure that you're getting in those grooves. and that these little gristles on this brush are really getting in there and getting that egg out of there, or whatever food debris you have in there. Now, food debris really likes to stick to the top of this here, on this top rung, so you really want to make sure that you're getting this as well. Something else to look out for, well, it's food. It really blends into this wood. Really, any color of anything that you're going to be cooking with is going to be very similar to anything that's yellow or brown or something, especially if it's eggs. So you really want to make sure for anything that may be discolored, even just slightly on this wooden spatula, and also anything that may be raised up on the surface, right? Watch out for that food. Okay, the next thing we have is a blender bottle. So this originally was filled with some milk and protein powder. I've since washed that out, but something to note here, specifically with these, is the amount of grooves that are in this, and I'm not sure if you can really get a good view of that. Maybe you'll have a better view of this. You can see all the grooves on the edge here, and you really want to make sure that every little millimeter of that is cleaned off, because otherwise it might start to stink. There's also a little part right here, there's a little circle where it closes up into this, and this little circle can sometimes get filled up with milk and debris and stuff, so you really want to make sure you're getting the corner of your sponge in there as best you can to work that sort of stuff out. Now this next part is fairly simple. Just take your little spiral ball out, get it a little wet, just press down on it. I still do both sides, but you really probably only need to do that once. Wash it off. I'm taking my thumbs and I'm pressing away from me. And that should be fine. You know, there shouldn't be any soap left on that, so really make sure that, you know, you're not able to blow bubbles with this thing. And finally, we have the cup. So again, you just want to make sure that you're really getting in there. You know, give it the once over, of course, right? This little part on the bottom here, you really want to work your sponge into. Make sure that if it's been sitting in the sink, that it hasn't got any food debris caked up in there. Probably shouldn't leave anything sitting in the sink, eh? And again, we really want to make sure that these little creases here, there's none on the inside, but they are here on the outside, are really taken care of. So just diligently make sure with the edge of the sponge here that you're getting in there and clearing that out. And again, just like with anything, especially if it's plastic, go ahead and fill it up a little bit. See if there's any bubbles in there that are being caused by soap and it's not just air. And when you're good, you're good. All right, the last thing we've got here, well, that pot, but second to last thing we got here is this starched up strainer. Not too bad on the outside, but definitely a problem in here. So like with anything else, I'm just gonna take the sponge and go to work. Now with this, you should be using the rough side for quite a while to get all that starch unstuck. And then take the soft, probably just do twice around, make sure it's all off of the thing, and then you can just wash it off. You want to really make sure this is pretty soaked up here to deal with all the residue. And because this is metal and not plastic, it's not going to hold the soap in very well. So you can really just get it as soapy as you want and it'll come right off and right out of the material. Now the only place that soap is going to get stuck in this are in these little holes, strainer holes. So really make sure all the soap is out. This one's gonna take you a little bit longer than the rest of the dishes, but continuously go back and forth across the whole surface on the inside and the outside until you don't feel any more soap, any more slipperiness. It should all just feel like water on metal at some point. But again, this soap does get stuck and you don't want to have soapy noodles. Now, of course, make sure you're taking care of the outside and all the little tiny crevices as well. The final thing you should do, the most important thing, still a lot of water and a lot of soap in this sponge, right? Just finished cleaning my last dish. I put it there, let's say, right? It's soaked. Give it a squeeze, get all that soap out. Turn your water on and run your hand under that while it's squeezed. And then once you let it go, you have pretty much an entirely dry sponge, or at least a lot drier than it was before. A lot less soapy than it was before. And you can go ahead and you can put that back, and that'll prevent, well, it won't prevent mold and mildew, but it'll definitely act against any sort of mold or mildew that may form. It'll be harder to form on that surface before the next time you use the dishes. Okay, next, gotta clean up the sink. Take your brush, okay? Anywhere where you see anything, and really, you shouldn't have to see anything. You should just go to town. Just make sure nothing is stuck on the sink. No food debris whatsoever. Okay, once you've scratched out the sink, again, just a demonstration. Obviously, you should probably use both hands and be a little more diligent about it. But get that water back on. And just start slapping the edges of the sink with water. Make sure all that debris gets in there. And really, at that point, is when you should take this out and throw it in the trash. And let's say at this point, you're done doing your dishes. You've got all that in there. All you're gonna do is just hold on to that little black there, take that out, shake off all the water so you don't drip it all over your kitchen. You're gonna bring it over here. I'm only one-handed, so this is gonna be a little difficult. You're gonna grab the edge of it, give it a little shake, and then using the corner of your trash can, just give it a good tap, get everything out of there. Still some in there. I think that's all right. Just go ahead, put it back, and you've done the dishes. Now, the last thing you're gonna wanna do is clean up your area. Always have a towel on hand, something clean, not something dirty that's been used, obviously. You would think, obviously, but just go ahead, clean off your area. And that's everything. This whole surface, anywhere where there's water, just go ahead and make it disappear. Anywhere where, dirty dishes may have been sitting on the counter, just go ahead, wipe that off. And there you have it. That's the dishwasher tutorial 2024. Hopefully, after this video is sent to my roommate's group chat, I won't ever see a dirty dish in my cabinets ever again.